How you doing, people? Okay, back in the saw shop again. You know how it is. We keep getting things to do, and we keep getting back out here. Let me turn this down just a bit. There we go. Okay, now I've been for a long time wanting to put a 390 carb on one of these 272s, 268. I got Hogans boys, 266 here. Came back in, plating started flaking off, and I called my guy up at Wolf Creek there, Ryan. I said, geez, ever had that happen? Nope. He says, but I'll warranty it and I'll stand behind it. And he did, which I told you all that. Now, we got some pretty exciting news about some of this. All right. First thing is, Kenzie, you're a bright guy. You had the right idea on where to put the hole for the impulse. You got it. I was going to put this hole in the case, and Kenzie from Bio Country Power Saws says, Harvey, he said, why don't you look at putting that in one of the transfers? You got a pretty good spot right there. He said, I think that'd be a good spot. And I listened. I said, okay, I looked. If you do that, it's the same air, same negative pressure, positive pressure, and on the opposite end that you get in your case. It's the same air up your transfers. It actually might be more, if you want to know the truth. It's debatable. Now, these 200 series saws, I don't care if you got a 288, 285, 266 through the 272, 61, they all have intake problems. I'll promise you that. And I've got a few of them here, including Robert Ramsden's 61, which we got all the parts. His hasn't leaked for a while. I haven't dared send it to him because every freaking time I try, I've tried several times, send that saw. It starts leaking. Now, because we have kind people out here watching, we're getting gaskets. We really are. In fact, I'm going to take a moment and give you just a little bit of a clue on how good these guys are. Dustin, I got the gaskets, buddy. This is the second guy. Sent me another whole pack. Dustin, buddy. That means a lot. I can't get them. I can't order a track from Husqvarna warehouse. You have to be a dealer to do that. And the local dealer tells me I can't get them. Maybe he just don't want me to have them. But you guys hook me up. I got gaskets enough for anything I'm doing this year. Even got a couple new intake blocks. Okay, one thing that was going on. Let's go right back to the beginning on this. We had an intake leak on the saw periodically. Okay, this was before I realized how bad the problem was. When I sent the saw out, it was running great. But them intake leaks, they crop up real fast. Well, they were having, Bucket and Hogan was having trouble with the saw. I said, geez, that makes sense. It run perfect here. Well, there's more than one thing. The plating was flaking off on the exhaust side. And no, it wasn't overheated bad. No. I would have known, trust me. Piston's in perfect condition. And so we're going to go over a few things in a few minutes. But first, let me show you what we did. We drilled a hole on the right side and put a tube in. See exactly where we did it? Okay, you want that to be press fit. That goes right in the edge of the transfer. I wanted it. Let's get this the right side up for you. See where that tube is right there? Yeah, that gets all cut off when I port the cylinder. This is the new cylinder. Yeah, that'll be all cut off, and we'll, I've got a tool to address the inside of that, and we'll just blow that out. But I have something that I use that you can see right in through here, all the way around that. This right here will save your sorry butt. Cubon. I bought this on eBay. You're going to look at it and say, all right, it's $23, $28. What the heck? Why do I want that? I'll tell you why you want it. You get 2 bottles of the glue. You get the black powder and the gray powder. Black powder, that right there, you fix the gas tank on the saw. You got a hole in the gas tank, crack or seam, this Cubon will fix it. I'm telling you straight away. Rough it up good, make sure it's chemically clean. But that's this Cubon glue with the gray powder. Now the reason I wanted that in this saw, I like every time I do anything crazy like this, I use this stuff. I'll tell you why. I believe in good insurance right there. And I got it. That Cubon it'll hold you. See, that's not that's going to be a short little piece of tube sticking in there, and when I get done with that, it's going to even be thinner. I open these transfers probably more than most on these. And I wanted that in there first so that when I got done porting, that was a nice, smooth, seamless finish. Now what we're doing, thanks to these gentlemen that are sending us gaskets and brand new intake blocks, I always do a test fit. That's what I do. Got to know what you're at. Okay, we don't need the little hole right here anymore. We don't need that. We're not using it. We can plug that. And we will. In fact, there's other things we're going to plug up to, and I'll show you what they are. Okay, so we got the one gasket on, the air horn. This is a 390 carb. We don't worry about where them little holes come in anymore. We really don't. So, we're going to get this little thing stuck together here. Boy, what a nice fit. You know, I wish you could see what I see in there. Maybe I can get it where you can. No, you can't. I can't. I'm not going to move that camera. I got a bad mount right there, and I know it. Anyway, I'll just tell you. That is a precision fit on the inside to that carburetor. That is as even as anything you'll ever get. Now, that's not what you get with the aftermarket ones like these. You got to make them right. You got to look at them and make them right. And so there you go. Boy, it's still a weird habit. I said, oh, where's that little hole? I wanted to put it on it. Part of the test fit thing here is, and this is before the port work, obviously, we want to know that everything is going to fit, hook up, and work. This is the way it is. Because this is out of the box. You've seen it here I don't know how many times. I don't do things like everybody else does, and I know it. I don't want to. I want to do them like me. I've been building saws and dirt bikes for, I'll just call it generations, all right? That's all I'll say. Generations. And, you know, you'd think after a while you'd get where you just knew about everything. You don't. The more you learn, the more you have an ability to learn more. That's the way it is with me, okay? I'm sure it is with a lot of you guys. Been loving your comments. Sorry about not having as many videos as I used to put up, but it's a lot of work. I've had a lot of work to do. And I try to get videos about things we're doing. Boy, that feels so darn good. I can't stand myself. But some stuff is just too hard to get a video at the same time. Okay, so you can see where we're sinking there. We got here, and we got here. Now, with just a little longer piece of tubing here, from here to here, I got some up in there somewhere. I ain't gonna dig it out right now, but anyways, that's a nice place to go with that. Thanks, Shenzi. Great idea, buddy. Fuel line obviously goes here. So what I want to do, I want to put it on the saw without the piston in. And I want to make sure that's going to line up. Fuel line is going to line up. We are definitely going to be able to get in right beside that little intake block. Here's something that you do have to watch. Your plastic, when this goes, you want to make sure your line is right in here. That, or cut this out just a little bit, okay? To make sure you have room so you don't pinch that. That's something that can be forgotten. And I didn't put that little gasket in there yet because just dry fit, I don't bother with that. I like to bolt the carb and stuff up after the cylinder's ported and it's ready to install, and put that on at the same time. Because these little saws can be boogers, they really can. And let me get this turned around. I'm going to say everything fits pretty darn good. You can see our impulse line right back there in the corner. There you go. You can see it now. You can see where it goes on the top of the carb. So, from right there to right there. That's where that impulse line goes. And it's pretty obvious that our throttle's going to work. I can just throw that. In fact, I'll do that right now. I'll just throw that right on and I'll show you. I think it was in the last video. No, it was the video before the last. I'll try to get these together so you know what was going on, but I showed you how that I changed the throttle shaft. I took the throttle shaft and the choke shaft out of a 272 carburetor and put them in the 390 carburetor so I didn't have linkage issues. And I'll show you what I'm talking about there. I'll slide this little bugger right in. And while we're test fitting everything, I might just as well, I actually haven't done this yet. I didn't. Some things I do make sure that I got my information right before I put it up on a video. But this one I'm just winging it. And I'll throw this little choke rod in here. Okay. And then we'll show you. As long as that cylinder is bolted down, I wouldn't wiggle around then, would it? But, see, we've got it. Our throttle is on. Choke is on. Choke works. See that? Throttle, it'll wiggle around because there's no bolt, but see, we got full throttle play. That's perfect. Okay. That was kind of fun to figure out, guys. I really actually did enjoy it. I like a challenge. I really do. So, we know for a fact that we got a 390 carburetor on there. Is that a good idea? Oh, yeah. For a modified saw. Would I put it on a stock one? I don't know. It'd probably run all right. We're going to find out. It is a little bigger. We know. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you. This is really cool. I want to show you this. I like coming back into saws that I've done and I've ran for a bit and say, okay, now I did that. I've learned a few things since this. I've learned things. But there's some things I wasn't willing to commit to do that I'm going to now. Now, the one thing that I'll tell you straight away that's always bugged me about this type of design is you guys already know the air when the piston's coming down, when it hits bottom center, that center comes through them windows in that piston, right? And I've had somebody say, well, do you port them windows? Not normally. I'm going a little bit on this. I ain't touching that. That pulls that piston up and down. I'm going to be very cautious on the intake side. And I'll tell you why. There's a lot of pressure on that. A lot of pull on the other side. Okay, because the intake skirt gets more pressure because of the way the engine rotates. But what I can do is I can clean things up on the inside right here and right in here. I'm not touching that, just a little bit, get some of the blemish off. And that's what I'm going to do. On this saw, I think what I'm going to do to get my intake timing, I think I want to take it off the skirt and just break the edge on the intake. The exhaust side, I'm going to make sure that at top dead center it closes. If there's excess, I'm going to take just a little off this bottom. We're going to round the corners, which I didn't do on this one. I sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's a mood thing. But I think this time we'd better. We'd really better. Now, when you look at these intakes, this one here is kind of a hard one because I already had opened this one up. But I'll show you on an intake block. They have a dog leg. Okay, see that dog leg, across from here to here. What that does, on these 200 series saws that have this style intake, it makes more air and fuel go up this transfer. It does. So you can see, you're looking at the exhaust, so that's the left side of the saw. As you're looking down it, more air, fuel will always go up this transfer than it does this side. It's been a hard problem to try to overcome. I've got it where I can get it a lot better. But I'm going to show you the proof in the pudding. This happens to be from not running properly, carboned up. This is the piston to come out of it. And this is the orientation. See here and here? This is, see your pin? That's your intake side. That's from your transfer on that side. See, you only got just one little mark here where the air fuel was. Once I corrected and I started running, I started burning that carbon off. Okay, that's what's going on there. Now, isn't it interesting that through the center, it's still on? It's the both edges. I've seen this so many times. That air follows right next to the wall of the inside of the transfer. That's why we leave them rough. We want that air to not be so close to the wall. I don't care if it's 5 thousandths, 10 thousandths. If you leave that, you go smooth with yours, I'll guarantee you can port that and do a perfect job. Hit your numbers. I'll pull it apart and I'll go hog wild making it rough, and I'll get more power out of your cylinder than you did. And I can prove that to anybody who wants to challenge that. Probably a bad thing to say, but it's the truth. Intakes, leave them rough. Don't go overboard. Just mostly a sandpaper finish or a little rougher. I like my intakes and my transfers rougher than most. And I get picked on about that till they run the saw. But we're getting by that plating issue. That could be just a one-off. I hope it is, because I really like using this cylinder. But we don't know. Okay, another thing that we're going to do with this cylinder is in your decompressor. These saws don't have lots and lots of compression. They're not hard to start. We block them off. Well, what you do is when you follow this, if you took that bolt out or your decompressor out and you looked inside, you'd see a little hole where that lines right up with that. There's a little hole in the cylinder. Well, I'll tell you, I fill that hole, and I fill that with red high temp silicone. You just wipe it on the inside of your finger because there's a loss of compression there. It's not a lot, but there is a loss of compression. If you know that you got enough arm to pull that, go ahead and spooge that. Put your plug in. What comes out the inside, wipe it with your finger. Make sure that's cleaned out good. You know, and it's under the surface. And but that red high temp RTV will really it'll hold up under that. You ain't gonna have any trouble with that. I've seen guys epoxy them and stuff, but it's not necessary. You know, at least with RTV, let's just say that somebody at some point gets a saw and they really want a decompressor, which is highly unlikely. They would buy a smaller saw first. You can dig that back out, and you can put a decompressor back in it. Now, I'm kind of interested in checking the numbers and one thing and another on this saw because with this cylinder, the piston was partially blocking. You know, it was sticking up just a bit in the transfers when it was all the way down. That means it's an obstruction. So what I did was, you see I got a little taper there. It's on both sides. I tapered it only enough to make sure that timing was going to remain correct, which it did. And it's going to be fun to see how that works out. Okay, now that we have the gaskets, I got about 3 saws here. This is the 4th. That I'm taking back apart. I ain't got to go very far. Making sure we got OEM intake blocks, OEM gaskets. And then we shouldn't have any trouble. And yeah, I'm going to use a little something on them gaskets too, you know. Isn't this a nice idea though, of not having to use that freaking little hole? Because if you look right there, there's that hole. There's like very little room for that gasket to seal. There really is. I didn't remove any material off of this one in that spot, as I won't. But now, this is going to change the shape of the future of porting for me if I do very many of these combinations. The thing is, you got to have the 272 carb for the throttle shaft and the butterfly shaft. And then you got to have a 390 carb. Okay? So, you know, you just added, okay, well, there's one more thing I need to do this. There's no question in my mind it's going to be a performance gain. I already know it is. It really is. You could probably use an X-Torque carburetor on one of these, but due to the short stroke of these saws, I don't think you'll like it. It won't flow. It'd be like putting a 950 double pumper under 327. Yeah, that'd be like what You need them long stroke motors, need bigger carbs. This is what it's all about. That's why them Pioneers. Go look at them. Yeah, you can put a pretty good sized carburetor on one. We actually put an X-Torque carb on a P38. Well, P51 Buckens got both of them. You guys seen them. And, okay. I am to the point of pulling my starter cover off. Putting my degree wheel on the saw. Seeing where my numbers are. And doing the port job. And I've showed you guys that enough times probably. I know somebody's going to ask me, T, can you show us how to do that? Well, we might get a little video clip of it here or there, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Thanks for being here. And thanks for your help on this channel. Just thanks. It means a lot. You know, you guys stand right up. And, you know, I have to be careful of saying, well, gee, I need this or I need that. I don't know where to get them. You guys at least know where to find stuff, which is great. But then you get a few that want to send me things, which I really appreciate it because there was no other way I could get them easily. I'd have figured it out, I'm thinking. But that's the way that I was going to get them easily. Now, when you're drilling through this, if you find a metric drill, that's better. I'll tell you what I use. I use the little tube that comes out of them 372s for the impulse. I've got so many of them with junk cases, busted cases, bearings are spun in them and one thing and another, that I just pop one of them out. And I find that little angle to be very, very effective. It really is. It always it makes things better for me. It really does. That little angle does. And you take enough of these saws apart, you can do them in your sleep. You know that. If you have thought about taking one apart, see what it makes it tick. If it doesn't run already, you're not going to hurt nothing, are you? The first time you take a saw apart, it's intimidating. Second time, you got an idea how that thing works. You really do. After about the 500th time, it's like, oh my goodness sakes, I thought I could do it faster than this. It only took you 10 minutes. Like the 372s, I can break them down and split the cases in an hour. They don't go back together that fast. No, they don't. It's, I love saving these old saws. I really do. It's too bad you can't get OEM parts. It's been a while since I've had any of these 200 series saws have a good cylinder even. I had a couple in here run all right, but you take them apart, they're done. They don't last forever. They really don't. So we put that away. Put that gasket right with that. And away we go. Okay, I got nothing holding me up. I thank you for being here. I already said that once. I'm going to say it a second time. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.